The movie starts with a young girl named Eve remembering a time when her father, Dex, taught her how to dance like a ballerina. He tells her that she reminds him of her sister, who had been taken away. Before leaving, Dex gives Eve a toy as a gift. That night, a group of assassins attack their home. They kill the guards outside and break in. Dex fights back skillfully, taking down two of them. He quickly runs to Eve's room, grabs her, and escapes to a hidden room. On the way, he kills two more attackers. Inside the secret room, Dex hides Eve and then goes back to fight the rest. However, he gets badly hurt and is eventually captured. A few minutes later, a man called the Chancellor arrives. He blames Dex for his wife's death and demands to know where Eve is. Dex stays silent. The Chancellor gives Dex a gun, telling him to end his own life. Just as Dex is about to do it, Eve calls out to him, revealing her hiding spot. One of the guards heads toward her. Dex quickly shoots the guard and others in the room. The Chancellor escapes during the chaos. Dex tries to get out with Eve, but another attacker knocks him down and tries to stab him. Eve finds a gun nearby and shoots the man, saving her father. Then Dex and Eve escape the building. The Chancellor, thinking they are still inside, blows up the house and believes they are dead. Outside, Dex is badly wounded and dies in front of Eve. Later, at the police station, a man named Winston comes to Eve. He says he will take her to the family that raised him and tells her they will become her new family too. Eve then meets a woman called the Director, who runs a theater. She invites Eve to stay with them. When Eve thanks Winston outside, he gives her a coin and walks away. Another woman named Nogi explains that Eve's father was a Kikimora, and one day she will become one too. She also explains the meaning of the coin. It has the power to either save a life or take one. In the end, it will be up to Eve to decide how to use it. 12 years later, Eve is training hard to become a ballerina, but she struggles during practice. Later, in her room, her friend sees her injuries and asks why she's pushing herself so much. Eve explains that she wants to be ready to become a Kikimora, just like her father. Over the next few days, she keeps training, but she isn't doing well in any of the fights. Nogi encourages her and tells her to fight like her life depends on it. With that push, Eve starts to improve. She becomes skilled at both dancing and fighting. The next day, the director tells her that it's time for the final step of her training. To pass, she must build a gun faster than another Kikimora and use it. Eve wins the challenge and kills her opponent. That night, John Wick appears after losing his beloved puppy and being cast out of his family. As he's leaving, Eve stops him and asks how she can begin doing what he does, but John warns her to walk away while she still can, then disappears into the night. A few days later, Eve receives her first mission. Her job is to protect an important person from their enemies. She's given a rubber bullet and an address. When she gets there, she gets into position and watches carefully. Soon, she spots someone moving toward the target. She rushes in to stop them. At first, she struggles in the fight, but she keeps going and manages to beat the guards. Then she reaches the boss and takes him down, successfully protecting her target. 2 months later, Eve gets a tattoo of the company as a symbol of her loyalty. One day, after finishing another mission, she is attacked by people in a car, but she quickly defeats them. While checking one of the bodies, she sees a scar, the same kind of scar the man who killed her father had. Eve brings the hand with the scar to the director and asks her about it. The director explains that people with that scar follow no rules. Because of that, their organization doesn't interfere with their actions. Seeing Eve's anger, the director warns her not to go after the people responsible and tells her to leave it alone. Soon after, Eve goes to the Continental Hotel. Inside, she asks to see the manager. The concierge, Charon, hesitates and asks for her name. When she says Eve, he immediately sends her to Winston. Eve asks Winston about the group that killed her father. Winston warns her that it's dangerous to even know about them. If she learns too much, she could be cast out. Eve hands him the coin. Winston accepts it and tells her they're not a tribe, but a deadly group that kills for money. He also says they are tracking some of them. A few moments later, Winston calls a staff member and asks for information on a man named Daniel Pine. She reports that there's a $2 million bounty on him. Winston requests a hard copy and hands it to Eve. Eve leaves and finds the place where Daniel Pine is hiding. There, she sees that Daniel and his young daughter are being hunted by bounty killers. She asks him about the people who killed her father, but Daniel warns her that finding him has put her in serious danger. Meanwhile, a sniper sees Eve with Daniel and reports it to Tatiana. She immediately raises Daniel's bounty to $4 million. Soon after, bounty hunters break into Daniel's apartment to kill him, but Eve and Daniel fight back and take them down. They quickly escape the building. Outside, as Eve protects Daniel's daughter, Daniel fights more attackers, but is eventually overwhelmed. He is injured, and one of the attackers knocks Eve down too. Later, Tatiana calls the Chancellor and tells him they've captured the girl and that another woman, Eve, was with Daniel. Meanwhile, Eve prepares to hunt the people involved. She visits a weapons shop and shows the owner, Frank, a photo of a hand with the same scar she saw before. Frank recognizes it and, without asking questions, shows her every gun he has. While they are talking, a group of gang members attacks the shop. Eve quickly handles the gang members in the shop, taking them down one by one. Frank watches in shock and notices they all have the same scar, just like the gang that killed Eve's father. He tells her that when someone starts hunting these people, none of them survive. Then, he points her to the area where they might be hiding. Eve loads up weapons into a car and drives off. Along the way, the director calls her and warns her again to stop, but Eve ignores the call. When she reaches the area, she sees a toy in a shop window, the same toy her father gave her as a child. While looking at it, she notices a man approaching the shop. He walks in and immediately tries to shoot her, but Eve reacts fast, defends herself, and kills him. She goes upstairs, where even the cook tries to kill her, but she traps him inside a refrigerator. Then she sees a police officer and a few others entering the building. She attacks them, and after a tough fight, kills them all. When Eve steps outside, one of the surviving men sees her and secretly contacts the Chancellor. The Chancellor tells him to activate full protocols. An alarm goes off, and dozens of armed men start rushing in. Eve fights back, killing several of them, but eventually she is outnumbered and captured. A few moments later, Tatiana arrives. She sees Eve's tattoo and knocks her down. Then she tells the Chancellor that Eve is one of the Roscoe Roma, a powerful family name. The Chancellor is shocked and asks why she came here. That's when the truth is revealed. Daniel Pine is his son, and the little girl is his granddaughter. Eve tells them that someone killed her father and tried to take her away when she was a child. The Chancellor listens carefully and then realizes something shocking. Eve is Tatiana's sister. He quietly tells Tatiana this. Eve tries to escape the building, but Tatiana catches up to her inside. There, she tells Eve the truth. She is her sister. It turns out Tatiana had been taken from the family when she was young. Their father was killed because he betrayed the tribe to keep Eve hidden and safe from them. Meanwhile, guards surround the building and report back to the Chancellor. Without hesitation, he orders them to bomb the area. The building is hit, and in the explosion, Tatiana suffers fatal injuries and dies. To confirm the kill, some guards enter the ruins, but Eve is still alive. She quickly takes them all out. A few moments later, the Chancellor tries to contact the team over the radio. Instead, Eve answers and warns him that she will take revenge. Then she disappears into the night. Angry and worried, the Chancellor calls the director and demands to know who Eve is and why she was sent. But the director calmly tells him that she didn't send Eve. She's acting on her own. The Chancellor gives her an ultimatum. If Eve isn't dead by midnight, they'll go to war with her organization. To stop that, the director agrees to send someone who can handle the situation. That night, John Wick arrives. The moment the Chancellor hears John Wick is in the area, he orders everyone to stand down. "Do not engage unless I say so," he commands. A few moments later, John Wick finds Eve. He warns her, "Leave now or die." But Eve doesn't listen. She draws her gun and fires. John blocks the bullets with expert skill. Even though he has a chance to kill her, he doesn't. Seeing her pain and anger, he lets her go. Eve then slips into a nearby village, hunting down her next targets. She silently takes out one of the guards. One of the nearby men spots what happened and sends a message. "She's loose. She's hunting. We need full protocol, now. The Chancellor gives a new order. Kill all outsiders. Hearing this, everyone gets ready for battle. Meanwhile, two policemen enter the building where Eve is hiding. She quickly takes them down and grabs a gun. She shoots anyone who comes through the door. One man dodges her shots, but she eventually finishes him off. A few moments later, Eve fights her way past more guards and enters an armory. Inside, she finds a massive stockpile of weapons and starts gearing up. One of the guards spots her and alerts the others. At the same time, the Chancellor sends his top bodyguard, Javier, with a clear order: kill her at any cost. Guards rush into the armory, but Eve is ready. She kills every one of them. Javier prepares himself with a flamethrower and heads toward her. The two clash in a brutal fight. While Eve uses her flamethrower to defend, other guards attack her, but she takes them out with deadly accuracy. Back at the control center, the Chancellor orders his men to evacuate his granddaughter. In the armory, Eve's flamethrower runs out of fuel. Javier still has fire, and things turn dangerous. As he tries to burn her, Eve defends herself using a water pressure pipe. Still, Javier gains the upper hand and overpowers her. Suddenly, John Wick appears and shoots the gas tank on Javier's back. It explodes, killing Javier instantly. At the same time, a few guards find John Wick, but he quickly defeats them all and leaves silently. Eve then tracks down the Chancellor's car. She shoots the driver, and the car crashes. The Chancellor slowly climbs out and tries to talk her down, but Eve doesn't listen. She takes her final shot and kills him instantly. Later, John Wick receives a call from the director asking about Eve. He calmly replies, "She killed the Chancellor," and hangs up. A few days pass. Daniel Pine, recovering in a hospital, is finally reunited with his daughter. Back at the Continental Hotel, Winston warns Eve, "They'll come looking for you. Be careful." As he speaks, one of the hotel staff gets an update. Eve's bounty has increased to $5 million. Realizing it's not over yet, Eve leaves the area, ready for whatever comes next. Thanks for watching. If you like the recap, please do like and subscribe for more videos. And don't forget to watch full movie for best experience.